Hello everyone, my name is Michael Bledstein. I'm back talking about movies that I've gone autographed. This time it's from the decade of the 1960s. Since I'm going in chronological order, just like the previous video, this time it's going to be 6 movies. The thing that they both have in common is that for some reason, the first 2 years of both decades, I don't have any autographs on either a 1950 or 1951 or 1960 or 1961 movie. So once again, we're going to start with not just the third year of the decade, but another musical with you guys. This is a terrific movie. I think it's one of the best musicals of all time. The story is very exciting and thought-provoking and a lot of fun. I really enjoy a lot of the characters in it. I will admit that it does have a minor subplot involving this romance between the mayor's daughter and this kid that I don't think is that interesting. It's kind of dragging, and I also don't understand how the characters magically get uniforms. Some of them, at least, magically get uniforms at the very end of the movie. But other than that, this is a terrific film featuring lots of wonderful songs and excitement. I met Shirley Jones at the Larry Edmunds bookstore near Hollywood, near the Egyptian Theater, during the TCM Film Festival. She was also there with Marty Ingalls, her husband, and I got a photo with him too, and I got a photo with Shirley Jones. I don't have those printed out. And meeting Shirley Jones was a lot of fun. She was selling a novel that she wrote, but I wanted to get this signed. This is the only Shirley Jones movie that I have. One thing that was so interesting about Marty Ingalls, by the way, is that when we were standing in line, it was the morning, it was about 10 something in the morning. He was actually handing out Danishes and croissants and stuff to keep while we're waiting to meet his wife, which was very nice of him. We were getting free food basically. So it's a shame that he passed away on October 21st, 2015, which I think was, yeah, that was Back to the Future Part 2 day. The next movie I'm going to talk about is from 1963. This one is a James Bond movie. I met Eunice Yason. Her autograph is in the blue up here. She played the character Sylvia Trench in both this movie and the original James Bond, Dr. No. She's the one that first asks James Bond what his name is when she says, Mr. And then he says, for the first time in cinema history, Bond, James Bond. And so she then had a small role as the same character in the second one, and I asked her why she was only in the first and second, and she said that they were supposed to have a series of her appear in each episode, but they cut it short after the second movie. They decided by Goldfinger not to bring her back. She appears kind of early in the movie, when the second time we see James Bond, when he's on the phone and he's with this character Sylvia Trench. Yeah, that was my experience with Eunice Gayson. I met her, by the way, at another convention. I meet a lot of these people, usually at conventions. The next movie I'm going to talk about is from 1964, and that's another musical, actually, part musical, and it's Mary Poppins. I met Dick Van Dyke. He autographed it right here. I met him at the New Beverly Cinema. Interestingly, for the New Beverly Cinema, they were showing a movie called The Comic, which was directed by Carl Reiner, and it starred, of course, Dick Van Dyke. They were both there. I met Carl Reiner before. I met him 4 months earlier, also at the New Beverly Cinema for Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid. And I met him again here, and I wanted to meet Dick Van Dyke. It was a sold-out show, but they had standby seating, meaning that they had tickets that could be available if various people didn't show up. So I went anyway, which is what I do in the case that I could meet some of these people. And apparently I got in, and Dick Van Dyke was already sitting down. He was signing other people's things. I remember Chitty Chitty Bang Bang DVDs and stuff like that. And he signed this, and then afterwards he said, I saved some room for when you meet Julie Andrews. That was very nice of him. I have not met Julie Andrews, but that was still very nice of him, even so. And I did remind Carl Reiner that we met before 4 months ago and showed him the photograph on my cell phone that we took. I don't have a photo with me and Dick Van Dyke, though. The next celebrity I'm going to talk about is at the Egyptian Theater, and it's also for a movie from 1964. A Best Picture winner, My Fair Lady. This is a little hard to read, but over here we have an autograph from Theodore Bickel. He played Zoltan Kaparthi in the movie, which appeared after the intermission. He shows up. I didn't say very much to him. I just asked if he could sign this, and it was during intermission time. I decided not to see the rest of the movie because I own it already, and I decided to watch the rest of the movie for free at home after bringing this home and stuff, getting it signed. And we do have a photo together. It's kind of a dark-looking photograph, though. The next movie I'm going to talk about is from 1969. It's another James Bond movie. On Her Majesty's Secret Service. This time I met James Bond himself, George Lazenby, at the Egyptian Theater. I kind of, sort of, got a photo with him. He was kind of not feeling well. He had a scarf around his neck. It was kind of, his throat was bothering him, and he was doing some signings. We weren't really allowed to get photos with him because he wasn't really in the best condition. When I was finished getting his autograph, I, of course, walked away. And as I walked away, I decided to take a photograph when he wasn't looking because I didn't know if I was ever going to see him again. This is George Lazenby. I don't think he knew that I took a photo of him. In fact, I'm sure he did not. I ended up seeing him again at a convention. I think it was the same convention where I saw Eunice Gayson. I believe it was. There was a lot of James Bond-related actors at that convention. I have officially met one of the actors who portrayed James Bond. Lastly, which I think is probably the coolest of the 1960s autographs I got, and this is a legend that I met, and there's another autograph on here. It's the only movie of the 1960s ones I talked about where I have more than one autograph, and that is The Wild Bunch. As you can see, I met Ernest Borgnine. I met him at a convention a week after my birthday, a week after my 27th birthday, if I recall. It was July 16th, 2011, and he ended up dying July 8th, 2012. And yes, I met the one and only Ernest Borgnine. I met him in line. I actually had a few things to say to him. I mean, he was very excited. He was a very energetic person. He was selling his autobiography, and I asked him if he wrote all that himself. He said, yeah, I did all that writing myself, and I'm still making movies, and I have another movie coming up. He was a very excitable and energetic person. Didn't seem at all like the kind of person that would be 94 when I met him. He died at 95, if I recall. So yeah, this is his autograph. And I also have a photo with the two of us. So yes, this is a photograph of me and Ernest Borgnine, and I was very excited to meet him. He's an Oscar-winning actor. It's the same exact day where I met Beverly Washburn and Tommy Kirk on my previous video of the 1950s autographs and photographs. If you notice, it's the same t-shirt because it's the same day. And the other celebrity that's on this DVD cover, which I met at the Roosevelt Hotel for an anniversary of American Graffiti, is Bo Hopkins. Bo Hopkins played the character Crazy Lee in this movie, the one that says, I kill him now, and then William Holden says, no, you just hold him there. This was in 2013 for a 40th anniversary tribute of American Graffiti. Meeting him was interesting. I caught him right after his Q&A of American Graffiti out at the pool, and he signed it, and I wanted to get a photo with him. I was not really able to. They kind of rushed him off. But interestingly, there was this one time, about a year before that, where I had seen him before at a convention, but I didn't know he was there, and I never heard of that name before, Bo Hopkins, never heard of him. And I went over to his table that time and saw a photo of Ernest Borgnine and him, and it looked like a clip from The Wild Bunch. And I said, oh, were you in The Wild Bunch? He says, yeah, I played Crazy Lee. He said, oh, I didn't know that. And I was like, oh, I wish I could have brought my DVD because it's autographed by Ernest Borgnine. And I would have liked to get your autograph also. But then a year later or so, it happened, and I think he's still alive today. I don't know what else he was known for besides The Wild Bunch or American Graffiti. So, those are all the autographs and photographs of 1960s this time. I hope you enjoyed it. And For movies of the 1970s, if you want me to do that, I already talked about two of them on my horror movies autographs, which were The Exorcist and Jaws. So it doesn't have to be decade related. You can have me do talk about autographs of other things. So let me know in the comments below. Thanks. Bye.